Good evening. We'll go ahead and call to order the December 16th December board meeting of the Boerne ISD Board of Trustees. We do have a quorum. We've got Carlin Fryer, Dallas Pipes, Maritza Gonzalez Cooper, Dr. Kristen Kraft, Garrett Wilson, Christy Schmidt, Courtney Darter Bruce, and Rich Sinna, all in attendance. The time is 5:01, and at this time we will go into closed session to discuss Texas Government Code 551074 deliberation regarding matters related to employment, appointments, resignations, terminations, retirements, and reassignments. Texas Government Code 5510821 deliberation of personally identifiable information about a public school student, and Texas Government Code 551072 discussion of purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. And with that, we will go into closed session. Everybody ready? All right. Oh, my mic's on. All right. Welcome everyone to the December edition of the Boerne ISD Board of Trustees meeting. We've just come out of closed session and we'll convene into open session. We still have Carlin Fryer, Dallas Pipes, Maritza Gonzalez Cooper, Dr. Kristen Kraft, myself, Garrett Wilson, Christy Schmidt, Courtney Darter Bruce, and Rich Sinna. So we still have a quorum, and let's see, with that, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, everyone. At this time, please stand for the presentation of colors by the award-winning Boerne champion JROTC Color Guard. Please join our students from Kendall Elementary for the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge.
We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the Texas Pledge.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence and prayer. Thank you, and please be seated. Mr. President and trustees, our students from Kendall Elementary have some great questions for you this evening.
Great. Welcome.
My name's Beckett and I'm in 5th grade. As a school board member, do you have to live within BISD boundaries?
Good question. And yes, you do. You do have to live within BISD boundaries. There's not necessarily a lot of other qualifications, but that is one of few. So, good question.
If I may, I have a follow-up question.
All right. Good.
What is your favorite food?
Ooh, man, can I answer this one still? Is that all right? I could talk about food all day. I like tamales. I'm kind of on a tamale kick right now. I love HEB's tamales. Really tacos, Mary's tacos. That's probably 3 or 4 days a week. So probably those two.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food is my mom's homemade pasta.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Jay. My question is, do you have a job besides being on the school board of Boerne ISD?
We all have, Jay, we all have jobs. Mr. Fryer is a banker. Mr. Pipes is a realtor. Ms. Gonzalez, no, she works for USAA. He's a banker. She owns a company. You own like 9 companies. And I own a company, and I also teach Sunday school. And you were in my class a couple of years ago.
How long can a person serve as a school board member?
So we do it in 3-year terms. So 1 year there'll be 2 of us, there's 7 of us, obviously so 1 year there'll be 2 of us up for election. The next year there's another 2, and then the 3rd year, 3 of us come up for election, and then we just repeat the cycle. So they're 3-year terms. And then we go up for election again.
And to answer your question, there is no limit on how many terms you can, that's really up to the people to decide that.
Good question.
Do you think you'd like to run for the school board someday? No? You never know.
Do y'all want to know how many terms or how many years the trustees have served up here? Because some of them have served a long time. Rich, why don't you tell them? And Maritza.
This is my 12th year.
Three and a half.
This is my 2nd year.
And it's my first. All right. Well, thank you to Beckett, Jay, and Christian from Kendall Elementary. Let's give them a round of applause. And if we can have Mr. President and the trustees and Dr. Kraft, if you could please come down to the floor for our commendations. Our first accommodation this evening recognizes our Boerne ISD Holiday Art Card Contest winners. Each year, the district selects a student artwork piece for the front of the official district holiday card. This year's winner is 5th grade student Amber Ralph from Fair Oaks Ranch Elementary. Congratulations, Amber. Winners were selected from each campus to participate in the competition. Our 2nd place runner-up is Boerne High School senior Michaela Jones. Our other campus winners are Harper Krause, a 4th grader at Cibolo Creek Elementary, Mary McCurley, 5th grader at Currington Elementary, Sebastian Cahill, 3rd grader at Fabre Elementary, Eleanor B. Schauner, 4th grader at Herf Elementary, Evan Mendoza, 3rd grader at Kendall Elementary, Emma Sun, 1st grader at Van Rob Elementary, Eva De La Garza, 4th grader at Viola Wilson Elementary, Cantina Patillo, 7th grader at Boerne Middle School North, Hannah Ramos, 6th grader at Boerne Middle School South, Avery Kavanaugh, 7th grader at Voss Middle School, and Isabella May, 10th grader at Champion High School. Congratulations to all. If any of the parents are here, please raise your hand or stand up. All right, thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause for supporting their child's creativity. Thank you. Thank you very much. Our next commendation recognizes the winners of VFW Post 688 Citizen Teacher, Voice of Democracy, and Patriot Pins competition winner. The Voice of Democracy is an audio essay program that provides high school students with the opportunity to enter a Democrat and patriotic themed recorded essay and earn educational scholarships and incentives. The Patriots Pin is a youth essay contest for middle school students with the chance to win state and national honors. This year's Voice of Democracy winners for VFW Post 688 are Piper Pruitt, Champion High School; Brady Cole, Boerne High School; Adam Norwood, Boerne High School; and this year's Patriot Pin winners are Librado Tenna, Boerne Middle School South; Catherine Kinley Cooley, Boerne Middle School South; and Cassidy Alger, Boerne Middle School South. And the winner for Citizenship Teacher of the Year award is Daniel Miranda from Champion High School. Yes. And if we can have some of our representatives from VFW Post join in the photo, please. And they also have a brief presentation following the photo.
Sure. Well, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to recognize the hard work that you students have been doing and learning. This is work for you guys. Every morning you think you're going to school, you're working. Your parents go off to school, you guys are working as well. And it's through pursuing excellence in everything you do that you're recognized for it. So we really appreciate the hard work this year. I can tell you we are very appreciative of Boerne ISD and the fact that last year we had some pretty good participation. This year, I'd say over 200% higher involvement in the 3 programs we offered this fall. And it's wonderful to be able to recognize one of those teachers of the year, because last year we didn't have anybody to recognize it. I know Boerne ISD has some wonderful teachers, so thank you very much for this. We've got some certificates to hand out, and I've got coins for 2 folks too, so all right, thank you very much. So Daniel Miranda, Teacher of the Year. Oh, there you are. I thought you were senior. This one is Post 688, and this one is from the district, our district headquarters. Thank you so much. You bet. Thank you. Thank you. And Piper Pruitt. She wasn't, okay, all right. Brady Coley. Congratulations. You're welcome. Hey, come on over here. Is that your dad? Anybody want to get a picture? Oh, okay, all right.
Brady. That's good stuff.
Adam. There you go. Congratulations. Librado? There you go, Librado.
Thank you.
You bet. Catherine Cooley. There you go.
Thank you.
Cassidy Alger. There we go, Cassidy. that it? Okay, great. And the last thing is our namesake is Private Bruno Phillip, who was killed in action in World War I right before the armistice. And there's an image of him on this coin. I want to give this to the Teacher of the Year. Congratulations. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to all. Let's give them a last round of applause. And for our final commendation, now we'd like to invite representatives from the Wounded Warriors Project to do a brief presentation right in the front. The suspense.
You want to get started first?
All right. So I am Tim Horton with Wounded Warrior Project. I've been with the organization for about 13 and a half years. A little bit, real quick, about what we do. So we directly serve post 9/11 service-connected members and their families, up to 3 family members. And we couldn't do that without great supporters in the community and donations. We also serve hospitals. So Brooke Army Medical Center is a very large military medical center. We actually have the honor and privilege to visit patients there. But we also do events all over the community. So I'm going to have Carlos talk a little bit about that.
Hello, I'm Carlos. Please excuse my nervousness. I'm a little nervous. Do I need this? Can you guys hear me? Because it sounds really weird. Okay. Sorry, I don't like hearing my own voice. I'm Carlos Alvarado, Wounded Warrior Project, out of the San Antonio office. Our team is the alumni team. So our job outside of going to schools and, colleges and hospitals and doing outreach within the community, we also host events for veterans and their families. Events being dinners, lunch, breakfast, anything that you can do to get the veteran out and engaging within other veterans or their family members. A lot of times we've had vets in the area that has ran into their kids may know another kid in the group and then find out they're in the same community, and those parents get together and start to do stuff outside of just like going to school and whatnot. And yeah, so I apologize. Sorry, I wasn't prepared for everybody here. Miss Sergeant Patton didn't tell me I was going to be in front of so many people. But yeah, so that's just a little bit what we do. Like I said, I love doing what I do. I get to work with a lot of great people, like I've mentioned, Sergeant Patton and Mr. Goodrich over here. These two have been a huge support. Sorry, I had everything in here. I have TBI, so I apologize. Huge support for us and our veterans. I met Rick of 3 years ago? About 3 years ago, came into the Wounded Warrior Project office. We talked to him and some of his other colleagues at the time, and we just remained close. And yeah, so here I am today. We did bring a couple things up here, so if we can get Mr. Rick up here. So I just have a little tiny speech for everybody. So I just want to take a moment to recognize someone truly special, Rick. His dedication, perseverance, and unwavering love for his community and the veterans within it are nothing short of inspiring. Rick has always gone above and beyond, not just for me, but for our entire organization. He still does it all with his beautiful smile. Rick, your willingness to step up, assist, and make a difference doesn't go unnoticed. You're not just a supporter, you're a cornerstone of this community. On behalf of all of us at Wounded Warrior Project, thank you for everything you do. There's another one as well. The big one. This is the big one. Just one more, if you guys don't mind. Also like to call up Sergeant Patton.
Here, sir, you have.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes, apologies. Sergeant Patton, your actions speak volumes, and your positive impact resonates throughout our organization and beyond. You're always ready to lend a hand, and you do so much with such kindness and grace. From all of us here at Wounded Warrior Project, thank you for being the incredible person you are and for making a difference in so many lives.
Congratulations to Chief Goodrich and Sergeant Patton. Let's give them all a round of applause. And Mr. President, trustees, and Dr. Kraft, if you want to head back to your seats. And we have a few videos. We have two videos tonight to show you. The first one is our core values in action recipient, Lee Mann with transportation. If we can please roll that video.
My name is Lee Mann. I work for transportation on bus 125. And working with the students and having fun, you know, and I think that's what it's all about. Just making sure they have a comfortable ride to school, that they feel, you know, relaxed when they get there, because, you know, our students, you know, some of them are under a lot of pressure. But I just want to have fun. I just enjoy being around the students and the kids.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I like it, baby. You gonna do your song this morning?
Oh, yeah.
Which one did you guys pick?
It's that.
Rock?
making friends with them and having fun, and and knowing their names personally and get to know what they do, not just in school, but outside of the school. If they play sports or if they sing in the choir, they do sing on my bus too. I like it. It makes them get involved too and engaged. And once you engage them, they're fun to be around. It's just a lot of fun, and I enjoy it. And I decorate my bus, and it looks good, and they like it, and just makes it. I like it. I just like it.
Right there, Thomas. There you go.
Every morning that we're outside this, right here, this stop, he opens the door with a warm greeting and knows everyone by name. And he's always saying good morning to every kid, knows them by name, opens each morning up with a nice smile. He's got the lights, he's got the flags in his bus that just his presence alone is a joy to all the kids.
Moving and transferring over here to Boerne, you can see that well-knit community also in the areas between Champion and Boerne, and us being one town. I do a lot of field trips for both schools, and matter of fact, all the schools, and you can just see it's just really strong community and support that we get here. It's just outstanding. And I enjoy it here. I really enjoy it.
Well, Mr. Mann's probably one of the most dedicated employees I've ever seen. He's got a passion and zeal for his job that are just transparent to anybody he runs across. He loves the kids that he transports, and it shows. He has such a relationship and bond with them, and it also extends to their family.
We put doctors, we put police and fire on pedestals that they are heroic in what they do, but there's people like Mr. Mann that, they don't get recognized enough. And what he does on a daily basis, especially during COVID when there was not enough bus drivers, and he was a guy that went out of his way to do the job above and beyond. And he's an incredible asset to our community, as well as to my children and the countless children in this neighborhood.
My main concern, what I like is, we have to earn the respect, not just from the kids, but from the parents. And if you earn that respect from the parents, they trust you with their kids getting on the bus. And that's what I try to do, so that, earn their respect, the parents, the kids, the teachers and the principals at these schools, and hopefully I think I've done that, and I just enjoy it. And so once you earn the respect of everybody, then everything else falls into place.
Thank you, Mr. We love you, honey. Thank you.
At this time, we'd like to invite Mr. Mann to come up to the front and speak to our board. They may have a few questions. And your wife is on Zoom as well from Virginia.
Mr. Mann, I first want to say thank you so much for everything that you do. You represent all of our bus drivers, and this is really special because you were my first bus driver here about a year ago. I know how early you get to the bus barn, and so just appreciate you being here with us tonight. And the video is so well done, and it just captures just your true heart and service for our kids in our community, so thank you. Yes, I will.
Yeah. So, Mr. Mann, how long have you been driving?
2 years.
2 years?
I started in the Palmetto.
Then you came to the good side, you left the dark side.
I transferred over.
And what did you do before you became a bus driver?
Ran my own company at 7-Eleven.
Well, clearly you've earned the respect of the teachers and the parents and the students, so thank you for all you do.
Hey, Mr. Mann. One, we're just so blessed to have you in our district, so thank you for that. I have a question for you. It looks like you might have a favorite college team. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, yeah, I can. My daughter goes to Texas Tech. She's there. So she's doing the ASL in Turkey. And she's there.
I got a job at Boerne High School for
I keep telling her that.
I'm ready.
You hear that?
Mr. Mann, I love how your personality just shines through when you greet the kids. I just, thank you so much for just putting that out there. And I feel like the kids all know you, just like you like to get to know the kids, their names and their hobbies. And I think that they've gotten to know you pretty well. So thank you so much for being such a blessing to our kids and engaging them and just welcoming them in. So thank you.
Mr. Mann, I was just gonna say, a lot of times with student athletes, they have that connection with their coach because they feel like the coach really buys into them, and same with the teachers. And just, it's really neat on this other level, just before the bell even rings or, they even get to school, that they have a connection with someone that they know cares about them. What would you say was like your favorite interaction with a kiddo on a bus? Maybe something that's meant something to you.
Interact with them all. A lot of them, even the smaller ones, interact. Right now, we're doing a lot of Christmas songs. Sing today, can I sing today? So it's listening to them, what they want, and cool. Want them to go.
Do you think that positive interaction helps with creating a culture of great behavior on the bus as well?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for being such a positive role model. You're the first person that these kids see. They may have not even seen their parents yet. So for them to have you greeting them and just helping to start their day off positive, it just goes a long way, and it just keeps going. Then they in return are the same way to others. And I know Courtney and I were visiting the bus barn. I believe it was last week. I think it was when you were doing this interview. Actually, I saw you doing the interview, but we were talking about helping you guys clean some buses coming up, and everyone's like, well, we need to get Mr. Mann to give us that list on what we need to do.
Stuart brought the bus over. He's right outside. Yeah.
Well, they said you keep a very clean bus, so if we needed any advice to come to you. So thank you for being a role model there.
I get to take Summer and Bob.
I'm sorry, there's no cleaning services tonight.
It's ready to go. I got it ready already for
Yeah, we really appreciate it. You mentioned in your video how special the Boerne community is, and your case in point of why that's the case. It's you and other people on staff like you and people in the community. But I mean, just what you do is a testament to why this community is the way it is. And so, I really appreciate that as a dad to kids of the district.
Been in retail for 30, 40 years. Customer service. Treating them the way he wants. Customer service. That's all it is. And
That's awesome. That's great.
All right, let's give a round of applause to Mr. Mann. He exemplifies core values in action. Thank you very much.
You got a job already.
Thank you. Our next video is our BEF Wow moment where we headed over to Herf Elementary School. If you could please roll that video.
Hi, my name is Scout, and welcome to Herf Elementary School. Today's wow moment will be in our grade level nest, where the students are working together to accommodate different learning styles. Let's be honest, we learn in different ways and the school day can be long, so it's important that our teachers have the tools we need to help all of our different learning styles.
The teachers are saying that it was a great investment because they are noticing that there's not so many behavior problems, and then also those conflict resolutions when kids know they feel kind of on edge, if they could interact negatively with kids, those are slowly getting helped.
Thank you for supporting every student, every teacher, and every school in Boerne ISD.
Thank you. This concludes our videos for this evening.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And so at this point, we will go to the visitor comments testimonials part of the meeting. We do have 7 speakers signed up, and so I will read the introduction for public comments here. The board encourages comments about the district from citizens of the district or from district employees. Anyone wishing to speak, either as an individual or as a representative of a group, may do so at this time. The board asks that each participant's comments pertain to public education and be no longer than 3 minutes. The overall time limit for comments will be 30 minutes. Remember that the board may not discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on our agenda. If an issue mentioned is listed on tonight's agenda, the board will defer discussion of the issue until the appropriate time during the meeting. The board encourages the public to discuss concerns with an appropriate administrator who has the authority to address the concerns. Concerns should be expressed as soon as possible to allow early resolution at the lowest possible administrative level. Finally, please be aware that rules of decorum will be enforced during the public comment period and throughout the meeting. Disruptive behavior will not be tolerated. Those who choose to engage in disruptive behavior may be asked to leave. Each participant is legally responsible for the content and consequences of his or her own statements. And with that, we will go to our first speaker, Amanda Stubblefield.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for everything you're doing as a board, and Dr. Kraft for what you're doing as well, and for approving the inaugural Spanish immersion program at Cibolo Creek Elementary School. I've seen firsthand with my own child the positive impact of the program, particularly academic, cultural, and socio-emotional enrichment. According to Johns Hopkins School of Education, gifted students in the general classroom often do not have their needs met in terms of pace, academic level, and rigor. After what in some cases can be years of advocating for change for their student, families begin to look for other options, be it a different learning environment or removal of the learning environment altogether. Your commitment to rigor and multilingual programming is appreciated and evidenced by the district's vision statement. Boerne ISD schools will be inclusive communities that celebrate all languages and cultures, where exemplary multilingual instructional programs provide high-quality teaching and learning so that all students excel and graduate prepared for active engagement in a global, multicultural society. Spanish Immersion is an enrichment language program for native English speakers, providing academic content attainment through Spanish and English beginning in first grade. I applaud you for bringing the Spanish Immersion program to Boerne ISD. At this time, many students face transportation barriers to the program. Regardless of home campus, students in BISD deserve equitable access. School districts have a role in ensuring academic programming and after-school enrichment is accessible and affordable to all students. The price disparity of after-school care housed in BISD must be taken into consideration. Currently, many families who value education face the following dilemma when choosing whether or not to enroll their child in the Spanish immersion program. Do I enroll my child in an academic enrichment program housed at a campus other than the campus my child is zoned to and forfeit bus transportation and access to the only affordable after-school care program housed in BISD? The cost of Boys and Girls Club is $50 a month, whereas the cost of YMCA program is $352 a month. At the high school level, BISD does a great job of busing students from one campus to another for equitable academic program. We're already doing a great job there. By providing after-school transportation through Cibolo Creek to Boys and Girls Club at Fabra for children that are already members, you would ameliorate this quandary for parents and families. The Boys and Girls Club is a life-changing program. As former alumni turned philanthropist Shaquille O'Neal explains, the Boys and Girl Club always provided a safe space for me when I was growing up. It shaped who I am today. Since both of his parents had jobs and could not afford babysitters, Shaquille attended a Boys and Girls Club after school until his parents got off work. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stubblefield. And next up, we have Robert Kraus.
Hello. My daughter is a junior at Champion High School, although she'll be transferring next semester. I did want to address something. One thing I've learned as I've gotten older is that the key to any relationship of any kind is honesty, trust, communication, and vulnerability. Actually addressing a problem is significantly better than covering it up or making decisions on your own. I'd rather know what's going on in the school than learn about problems from word of mouth or social media. Even if it's something to be concerned about, I would rather know the flaws of the school from the school than trust teenagers or social media to give me the information. I know this school's gone through its fair share of controversies and issues. Some haven't even been told to the parents, but I've seen videos of issues in the school. I've been told stories about behavior of children in the school, and some of this never seems to be addressed. I feel like being open and honest will help rebuild the trust of some of the problems that have been occurring in the school. One of these issues is taking the bathroom doors off the bathrooms at Champion High School. This was not informed to any of us beforehand. At least I was not. Some of the men might not know, but I'm sure all the women do, but there's a different level of decorum and embarrassment in using the restroom in a women's room than a men's room. I imagine the administrators that made this decision don't fully understand how vapes work. Many are odorless, have no smell, and make no sound. Taking the door off is more traumatizing than being around a vape. Taking the mirrors off the doors just proves that there is a line of sight into the restroom. I feel like this decision was made by people that forget what it was like to be a teenager. Sometimes you need a minute of privacy, a moment to cry, or a moment to fix your makeup. This doesn't feel like a fix. It doesn't feel like a Band-Aid. It feels like it's not addressing the problem of how to keep kids from vaping. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, we have Laura Oki.
Good evening, Dr. Kraft and members of the school board. My name is Laura Oakey, and I have a student who is a junior at Champion High School and a member of the Cybersecurity P-Tech Cohort 1. First, I would like to thank you for hearing the parents that spoke at last month's meeting. We have seen actions taken and are optimistic the program is beginning to get the resources and attention it needs to write its course. There is still work to be done, and tonight I would like to address another portion of the program. In addition to the opportunity to earn an Associates of Applied Science degree, P-Tech is supposed to offer work-based experiences and a senior internship. To quote bullets 3 and 4 from the Boerne ISD website page for the Cybersecurity P-Tech Academy, P-Tech programs offer age-appropriate work-based learning opportunities at every grade level and allow students to gain work experience through an internship, apprenticeship, or other job training program. I want to emphasize at every grade level because after 2.5 years in the program, none of our students have been offered a work-based learning opportunity through P-Tech. Personally, I've been actively looking for internship opportunities for the senior year, and I'm finding that the application deadline for those opportunities has already passed. Without hands-on work-based experience, the applied in the Associates of Applied Science degree is meaningless. Boerne ISD has a strong relationship with the community and a rich history of offering senior practicums for other CTE programs. I'm coming to you this evening to ask each of you to reach out to the community contacts you have to assist in finding businesses willing to offer age-appropriate work-based learning opportunities with a focus on Cohort 1 for their senior year. It is too late to fulfill the promises made 3 years ago of age-appropriate work-based learning at every grade level. However, at every grade level is what I challenge you and Boerne ISD to work on honoring for cohorts 2 and beyond. Our rising seniors will be the first class with the opportunity to walk across the stage at Northwest Vista College, having earned their associates in applied science and their high school diploma. In closing, I will remind you of all the exciting opportunities P-Tech can offer and ask that you please continue to focus on the program needs until all promises are fulfilled. Again, quoting from the Boerne ISD website, P-Tech programs provide students grades 9 through 12 the opportunity to complete a course of study that combines high school and post-secondary courses, enables students to earn a high school diploma along with an associate degree, level 1 certificate, or industry-based certification, offers age-appropriate work-based learning opportunities at every grade level, allows students to gain work experience through an internship, apprenticeship, or other job training program, aligns to regional workforce needs, guiding students into high-demand, high-wage careers, and partners with local colleges, regional businesses, and industries, giving students access to post-secondary education and workforce training opportunities. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Ms. Oakey. Appreciate that. Irvin Smith.
Hello, I'm Irvin Smith. I have 2 sons in the P-Tech program, and if I could, I'd give Ms. Oakey my 3 minutes. She's better spoken than I am. I came to thank you guys and then complain a little bit at the end, okay? So 30 days ago, we did come and speak to you about the P-Tech program. We came and asked for help, and we asked for resources. And I want to believe it's because of that ask that you guys did so much in 30 days. We have a CTE building that's coming online. We have a P-Tech counselor at CHS now.
Excuse me. Sorry to interrupt, but please don't, we're going to ask that you do not
mention a name.
Mention names or positions during public comment.
I don't remember which name. I apologize. And we have a lot of things coming for us, and we know for the first time in 2.5 years, we finally have momentum. I'm kind of discombobulated. We finally feel like you guys heard us and you guys gave us resources. Now I know that we aren't that important to that. I know things were moving before us, but we finally felt like our voices were being heard. Then, of course, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We canceled our parent meeting for December. It's the last opportunity we had to address shortfalls in our juniors' course schedule for the spring semester. This is the second one in 2 months that was canceled. So we haven't had an opportunity to speak to our counselors about the P-Tech program in over 3 months now. We have a brand new principal who is open to feedback and communications, paired with an advanced academic director who's amazing and over-communicates.
positions or names.
You can't say position. How do we address these are roles? Like names, I understand, but how do we address the role without, like, these are the people I deal with?
Right, you can address the role, but just making specific comments about individuals, you can talk about the specific roles, but not specific comments about those roles.
I thought it was just a name. I apologize. All right, so we have a bunch of great staff members in the P-TECH program. We love all of them, and we finally feel like we're moving forward. I have a senior. I have three. Can I talk about my own kids? I have 3 semesters where my son has not had a schedule in place before the end of the first month. Had to go in after the fact and take what's left over. And those classes that were left over, they were fun classes like study hall, teacher's aid, and then a class that he already got credit for. That's what you get on January 27th when your schedule's not set. We have a meeting beforehand, and then all of a sudden, my son doesn't have a schedule because it's the wrong classes. That's what you get if you don't pay attention and you don't talk to parents. If you're expecting teenagers to come home and explain everything that any staff member were to talk to them about, they're coming home to say, I'm told it's fine. That's what we're getting back. We have to communicate. We have to be transparent. And I apologize to anyone I may have contacted. I was told that a certain individual canceled the meeting for January, and it wasn't true. I apologize. I'll do better on January. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. At this time, Dr. Josephine Juarez.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Kraft. Thank you so much for the opportunity to address you today. My name is Dr. Josephine Juarez, and I'm here to address 2 critical issues that directly impact our current cybersecurity P-TECH students. These issues, if resolved, could significantly enhance their opportunities for success in both higher ed and in the workforce. The first issue is the lack of opportunities for students to take industry certification exams, even after completing courses to prepare them for these credentials. The P-TECH program is designed to align with industry standards, equipping students with skills that make them workforce ready. However, in the last 3 years, there's been a complete lack of access to these 11 certification exams. Without a district-wide plan to ensure these exams are readily accessible, we're missing out on a key opportunity to turn the students' hard work into tangible success. The second issue is the limited access and preparation opportunities for the TSIA-2 exams in ELAR and in math. These exams are crucial for determining whether students are ready for college-level coursework, and this is one avenue by which students become eligible to take dual credit courses. Too often, students are unaware of these tests until the last minute and/or lack the preparation needed to pass. Worse still, the limited testing opportunities may mean that many students could miss their chance for dual credit core courses altogether. To address these challenges, I urge you as a board to act with the following 3 steps. 1, create and implement an industry certification exam plan and timeline that ensures that every student who is completing the cybersecurity P-TECH program has the opportunity to earn the certifications that are aligned with their coursework. This plan should outline the testing voucher process, exam availability, and communication strategies to inform students and families about these opportunities. Number 2, develop and implement a plan and timeline for TSIA-2 preparation and testing. That includes advance notice for students and families, access to free preparation materials and resources, and multiple testing opportunities throughout the school year. And 3, utilize the resources, coaching, support, and training from Educate Texas to build capacity for both the district level and campus level individuals responsible for the cybersecurity P-TECH program, certification exams, and TISA-2. The expertise of Educate Texas can help the district redesign effective strategies, provide support to staff and students, and ensure that the program's outcome-based measures will not result in a needs improvement response to the district's application for designation that is right around the corner. By taking these steps, the district can ensure that our cybersecurity P-TECH students graduate with the opportunities that they and their families were promised. whether these students. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have Jace Tippin.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. President, Dr. Kraft, and members of the board for allowing me to speak today. My name is Jace Tipton, and I'm a junior at Champion High School. I'm a member of the Air Force JROTC and was recently awarded a full scholarship to the Flight Academy program, where this summer I will earn my private pilot's license and college credits. I'm also an ambassador for STEM Flights. It was this program that sparked my interest in aviation. This is a free program available to middle school and high school students. This program is a nonprofit organization, and each student is matched with a mentor pilot. And what they do is they go on a 1-hour check ride and see if they're interested in aviation. That process is very simple, and what they do is they meet and they go over simple instruction, and then they do pre-flight procedures, and then they go for the 1-hour flight. Students Two of my fellow cadets that also got this scholarship are alternates, and I set them up with this program, and they are really enjoying it. And I really think that this program can be beneficial for middle school and high school students that just don't have that connection with aviation, and especially in their interests. And I believe that this program will help them and motivate them. Sorry, I got mixed up with my note card. Here we go. I'm preparing to you this evening in hopes of making this program more visible in middle school and high schools. I'm not sure what this support would look like, but would like to meet about it and see what support we can find. Again, thank you for your time, Mr. President. I have some brochures for the board. May I leave them at the podium or give them to pass out?
Sure, you can pass them out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next up we have Mr. John Tipton.
Good evening, everybody. Parents, staff, professional educators, members of the board, Dr. Kraft, thank you so much for entertaining myself, and you just heard from my son. I want to give you a little bit of a different perspective as a parent and as a member of this district. Got to mention that I'm the proud parent of 4 boys who are either currently in BISD or have recently graduated, and I'm also the proud husband of one of your professional educators. So, having said that, this program, I'm sure everybody here has been on a commercial aircraft recently, or have received a package from Amazon or from UPS, part of that logistical transportation hub that is fueled by professional pilots and professional aviators. May or may not know this, but there is a huge shortage of these types of professional or people to fill this profession. And this is one of the impetus, or one of the reasons why this program, this national program, is available. And it's such a resource for us. We're very fortunate that here in Boerne, we actually have one of the board members who would have been here this evening, but they're actually having their board meeting, their annual board meeting this evening. So Jace was able to step in to communicate that message. What a great opportunity for our young people who may or may not know what it's like to be an aviator to be in an airplane, and folks, it's different to be in a small aircraft to being in a large. You will know very quickly if you want to pursue an aviation career if you sit in one of these small aircrafts. These people that are the mentors are taking their own personal time, their own personal resources, okay, and contributing it to our young people to help them decide if they want to be a part of this, the aviation industry, whether they're maintainers or pilots. As Jay stated, I don't know what a partnership or what it would look like for BISD to maybe partner with the STEM Flight organization to introduce the program to our young folks and encourage their participation. And remember, it's free. It's 100% free. I don't have the funds to go and put my son into a 1-hour check ride. I bet you there's many people in this audience that don't have those funds and resources. But it's made available for those students that would want to potentially participate in this program. I would encourage the board, whatever that looks like. Jace is willing to sit down and visit. I'm willing to sit down and visit. I know that Mr. Campbell, the board member, would be willing to sit down and visit and discuss how we can form a partnership and maybe bring aviation to Boerne Independent School District as an elective or a way to improve. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Appreciate all the speakers that came out tonight and all the comments that were made. At this time, let's see, the next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
We got a motion, a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, the approval, the agenda is approved. Next up, we have consider action, if any, regarding items discussed in closed session. I'd entertain a motion for the items we discussed in closed session.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion regarding personnel to move that the Board of Trustees approve the personnel report as discussed in closed session.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Mr. President, I have another motion to proceed with real estate discussions and negotiations as discussed in closed session.
Got a motion? Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Both of those passed. Thank you for that. Yes, she's about
we will do that right now. So when the board approved the personnel action in closed session, we have some announcements that we would like to share. If we could have Michael Joanno come up to the podium and also Brittany Walker to join us at the podium. And so we're pleased to introduce Miss Walker, Brittany Walker. She has been named the academic dean at Champion High School this evening. Brittany, Miss Walker joined Boerne over the summer and has made a tremendous impact, and really excited for the role that you will, and the impact that you'll have as moving into the academic dean position. She's been an administrator for 5 years. She came to us from the Houston area, began her career back in 2009 in Socorro ISD, and taught for 10 years before moving into administration. Ms. Walker, do you have anyone here that you'd like to introduce?
I brought my family, my very loving husband, Rodre Walker, and my 2 daughters, Lena Bell and Marley Irie.
And where do your girls go to school?
They're at Cibolo Creek Elementary.
Awesome. Thank you. It's great to see the family here tonight. Congratulations. And we are pleased to introduce Michael Joanno as our new principal of Curington Elementary. He has been an assistant principal over at Van Rob since 2021, and he has a long history in Boerne ISD. He's been an instructional coach at HERF, a teacher at Cibolo Creek, and you'll notice as soon as you say just a few words to Mr. Joanno, he's from England, and so he began his teaching career in England, and we're so fortunate that he found his way over here to Boerne, and you'll recognize his name from the past year or so, where he has received state and national awards for being the assistant principal of the year in Texas, and then went on for national competition as well. Mr. Joanno, do you have anyone you'd want to introduce?
my wife Chelsea and my son John.
Well, congratulations. And we'll do family picture, and so we'll come down also and take a picture as well. So have your family come up to the front.
There it goes.
Okay. All right. Always fun to do that. It's exciting news. Congratulations to both of you again. That's awesome. Okay, at this time, we'll move to the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda unless anybody has any discussion on it.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
A motion, a second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. The consent agenda is approved. Okay. That was number 7, 8. Okay, yeah, make sure you got it right. Okay, next, we're going to move to the governance section, board member reports. Anyone want to start out? Christy? All right, great.
I think we have quite a bit of reports today. So I will start with a communications committee meeting. It was held on November 21st. We had a great communications meeting. It was very interactive. We had a lot of attendees. We discussed Teach and Tell, which beginning in December, the communications department started highlighting teachers in our classrooms, sharing what their teaching method is and why it is unique to Boerne ISD. We discussed core connections. The communications department is connecting students with local celebrities who have shown perseverance during a challenging time in their lives. You may have seen the first one featuring Hunter Moore with Kevin Von Erich. It's very good. We also discussed the national family engagement. So the communications department is working with Krista Pomeroy to develop a series of videos to share with families why engaging with their children is important in life and academics. We discussed hype reels, which you may have seen some of our hype reels that have been on social media for, they're creating them for sports, theater, and band. And when they achieve a playoff level or high level competition, we've received very high views on the first couple of videos. So they've done one for football and one for basketball. And interesting fact, those are 80%, or at least I know the football one was 80% student-led. So they're taking these videos and collaborating. We had our Cookies and Cocoa event. on December 13th. We had 19 groups, student performers. We had 641 students attend, and FBC Boerne donated 1,300 cookies, so everybody that came in got cookies and cocoa. So it was a big success and toy drive as well. Sorry. So our program evaluation committee was November 19th. We discussed two main things: the Mitchell Learning Center and results-driven accountability. A lot of exciting things happening at the Mitchell Learning Center. It's fun to see that unravel. So the committee reviewed the 4 areas to qualify for the 18+ program at the Mitchell Learning Center. Student enrollment numbers for the program were addressed. There are 3 program components for the 18+ program. There's vocational, which is career exploration and work readiness, independent living, and self-advocacy skills. One of the classrooms in the 18+ program is dedicated to the Practical Assessment Exploration System, which is PAES. It's a research-based assessment system where students can experience exploration and hands-on learning of multiple job opportunities. The 18+ program is connected with the community and multiple businesses for students to experience job opportunities. The students give back to the community through volunteering at the Hill Country Daily Bread. The results-driven accountability, the committee reviewed the recently released RDA report from TEA. This report is part of the A through F accountability system that is data-driven monitoring framework for 3 program areas: bilingual education, ESL, emergent bilingual, special education and other special populations such as foster and homeless. BISD received meets requirements determination level for all of these program areas. There were important improvements made from the 2023 report showing growth with our emerging bilingual students in reading. This report was reviewed and shared with all of the principals at the October and November principals meeting. And last but not least, PTO presidents. Our next meeting is scheduled for February the 7th at 9 o'clock here at Central Office. Our PTOs have been super busy. They had a very successful district-wide Thanksgiving Pie Day. It was our 22nd annual, and every PTO donated 260 mini pies to BISD. They brought them to Central Office, so everyone and every employee in BISD got a pie or a celebration, so we were able to deliver those to transportation and maintenance and hand them out here at Central Office. And this was in addition to all the fun Thanksgiving things they did on campus. A lot of our PTOs are busy right now. Just they're planning, they're hosting their staff Christmas parties for their various schools. So we're always grateful for all they do to support our district.
Thanks. Great. You want to just keep moving to the right here? Is that all right?
Let's do it.
All right.
Thank you, Christy. I'm going to start with the Bond Oversight Committee meeting that we had on December 2nd. We had a small group there, but we had a lot that we visited about and a lot that we got to look back on and be thankful for. All the hard work for Mark. Your team have spent countless hours working on managing these jobs for the bond. So thank you so much for all of your efforts. I'll just kind of go through some of the things that we discussed. A land update was given for the Dunnenberg track, which our goal is to close May of 2025. There's also further discussion regarding 13 available tracks as well that we are looking to consider in our district. New operations and transportation center, this was discussed. It was an intended property that bordered the Aquatic Learning Center. However, there are challenges there, including that the property will not connect to Highway 46 because it's in a floodplain. But there are ways to repurpose the property, making adjustments needed to complete conceptual design. So also we discussed the Aquatics Learning Center. We discussed the delays on the project due to site challenges. There's current substantial completion date is in February, and they are on track for that. Thank y'all for managing that so well, being on site and trying to slow down these or speed up the progress there to avoid any further delays. The CHS P-Tech Edition, the project is on target. The furniture for Edition is being delivered over the holidays, which is exciting to see things start arriving for that. The library hubs, everybody's been busy at work on these elementary campuses. The projects are on target. Furniture deliveries are beginning January 6th. So that's really exciting too for a lot of families to see updates coming to their elementary schools as promised. Bond savings and interest earned being used for following projects. CHS tennis court resurfacing, drainage improvements have been made and courts have been resurfaced. Another one is in the BHS competition gym. Some of you may know the flooring was refinished, but now the gym is going to be completely repainted and make it look like a brand new building with just a little bit of paint, or maybe a lot of paint, but it's going to look like new. It's going to be great. Central Office Academy improvements. The project will begin during the Christmas break. Almost to the end here for this one, the budget update, the discussion of savings from the Boerne High School edition, current amount paid out to date, and status of budgets for projects that have not gone to construction at this time. Also, the BMSN focus group sites, the visits are going to be forthcoming. So our next meeting is in February 25th. So more to come on that. And then we have another great committee that I love being a part of as well. The School Health Advisory Council with Krista Pomeroy took place on the 9th of December. So the members reviewed the Boerne ISD integration of digital devices in public schools and the document draft thereof. The committee previously made recommendations for screen time at home and for homework. We got to review the proposed usage times within the context of the draft document. Members started to create a wellness plan for families of digital devices. The members identified and reviewed suggestions that support health and well-being for engaging with technology. We also started the process of making recommendations for family guidelines by participating in a prioritization protocol. Now, the next steps will begin February the 11th, are to prioritize and finalize recommendations for our family guidelines to determine how families and the community will receive information, website, email, newsletters, and etc. So it's an honor to get to be a part of that committee, and I love to see the care and concern for children on all levels in our district. So thank you, Krista. That's all I have.
That was good. No, it was really good because I was going to give an update on the facilities committee, which happened the day after the bond oversight, and you covered like 95%, which is great. So we're saving some time.
Nice.
One thing I wanted to add on the P-Tech edition at Champion, I think you mentioned the furniture is being delivered this week. It will start up at the beginning of the second semester, and there will be 60 additional parking spaces added to Champion High School, which will definitely come in handy. And no floating teachers working in multiple classrooms in the next semester, so that's a good thing. We'll give an update on the Legislative Advocacy Committee. The 89th session of the Texas Legislature begins on January 14th of 2025. In a normal year, there's between 6,000 and 7,000 bills that get filed, and maybe 10% of them are signed into law. This year, it appears there's going to be a lot more than 6,000 or 7,000. So I guess our legislators are getting busy with proposing bills. A lot of them have to do with property tax relief, which certainly will be on the agenda of the legislature with a greater than $20 billion surplus they have. We will receive regular updates from the Texas School Coalition, which we are a member of. That's the Property Wealthy School Districts, Fast Growth Coalition, which we're a member of, and we also get regular updates from Mo Casey law firm. We will have a Boerne ISD day at the Capitol. It's going to be Thursday, January 16th. Christie has already chartered a bus that the volunteers will pay for, so no district funds will go towards lobbying or advocating at the Capitol. Participants will include members of our Citizens Leadership Academy, the Budget Strategy Advisory Committee, some current and former school board members, and community and business leaders. And we'll have over 25 teams of people. This will allow us to visit all 181 members of the legislature, both senators and representatives. We're doing this a month earlier than we did in the last session because it's expected that education, or at least education savings accounts, which can be construed as vouchers, will be considered an emergency item declared by the governor. And emergency items can be acted on in the first 60 days of a session. Normally, at the beginning of a session, not a lot gets done. They file some bills, but not a lot gets passed. They have some hearings, but emergency items can be acted on fairly quickly. Our hope is that education is done in one fell swoop, and education funding is included in that emergency order, because it would be nice for Mr. Scott and the board if we knew what the funding formulas were going to be prior to starting our budget process for 25, 26 years. We'll do Zoom training for all participants at this event, and we will ask our local legislators, as they've done in the past, to reserve a room for us at the Capitol for our use, and they come visit with us. Senator Campbell, Representative Troxler, DeRazio, who are our two state reps, they visited with us the last time, and it gives them a chance to hear firsthand from members of our community how important it is that they address school funding. And as you know, we have not had an increase in the basic allotment, which is the primary driver of public school funding. It'll be in six years as of the start of the next session. So that's a significant period of time, despite significant inflation. Whereas private schools have been able to raise their tuition, we have seen no such increase. But on a good note, one of our state reps, Representative Troxler, has submitted a bill. It's with the legislative board right now. They're doing the financial analysis that incorporates our recommendation in our legislative priorities for a permanent teacher retention allotment to boost teacher pay in the state of Texas. So hopefully that will move forth, and she feels confident that issue will be addressed. We will see. It was supposed to be addressed in the last session, but didn't. But, hopefully it will be this time. And we certainly will push for appropriate funding for public education in the state of Texas. So that's kind of the update.
Fantastic. Do we want to just circle back around over here?
Sure, I can go next. I can talk about the Board Finance Committee that met last week on December the 11th. We had three main topics of discussion: defeasance update and the resulting debt service fund budget amendment, which we'll look at later on from Mr. Scott. He presented a defeasance analysis of the debt service fund, outlined various scenarios and their potential impact on district savings. We had some open discussion on the BSAC meeting results and possible outcomes. That's the Budget Strategic Advisory Committee. Mr. Scott initiated a discussion by asking board members for their thoughts on the progress and conversations held during those meetings. We all unanimously agreed that the committee members are bringing forward very thoughtful questions, meaningful topics, and strong engagement. And then we had an open discussion, as Mr. Senna just talked about proposed legislation. Mr. Scott initiated that discussion with board members about recently filed legislation for the upcoming legislative session and some of those that could significantly impact school funding. So that's the recap of the Finance Committee.
Great.
All right, and I got systems of care. The BISD System of Care Advisory Committee met on December 12th, 2024, just last week. The committee reviewed data presented during the September meeting, as well as a vision for the purpose of our COC committee. The committee viewed a presentation on the Boerne ISD Care and Share Center, which if you, we'll be talking a little bit more about this, but I'm very, very excited, about as excited as you are, about this. And this center will open in January. The center will allow families to access crisis resources and basic items such as food, hygiene products, and clothing. Items will be donated through staff, families, in the BISD clubs and organizations, resulting in minimal operational costs annually. The Care and Share Center will have extended hours for operation to meet the needs of working families. That's going to be phase 1. And phase 2 is going to be the Care and Share Center will open in the fall of 2025. This phase of the center will help students with their family access to college, career, and military resources. Students and families will have access to technology, classes, seminars, college advisory, and more. Students will be able to use the Care and Share Center to apply for scholarships, navigate the college application process, receive FICA assistance. I don't even know how you want to say that, but basically financial aid assistance. And Care and Share Center will have FAFSA? See, I don't have high school kids
Dallas
yet.
doesn't have a high school.
I know, I
yet,
have
but
elementary
he
kids.
will soon figure out FAFSA.
I know. Thought y'all would train me. I got too many kids to learn this at that time. Weekend hours to allow students to access resources when school is not in session. The other one that we talked about that would be really interesting, that was brought up earlier today, was their what classes they're going to be taking in the actual school year. I think that's going to be really great to have more assistance with that outside of the school hours. The SOC committee toured the future home of the Care and Share Center and then gathered to propose ideas that have not been previously considered. And I want to give an idea of this. Is this basically, I would consider it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but as a bridge kind of between, we have 400 nonprofits, over 400 nonprofits in this area that kind of provide similar things. And this is that bridge from day one to get them in and connected to those nonprofits. I'm really excited for this opportunity to see the need that we have just for the basic needs of food in our community, as well as clothing, shelter. We have so many needs that we kind of don't believe that we have in such a community like Boerne, but we have a very generous community, but we do have these needs in this community, and I think this is going to go a long way to help fill those needs.
Great. I don't think I had anything.
No, I don't have anything. Chief Goodrich is going to give a report shortly.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, you guys did great covering. We had a lot of great committees this month, so wonderful job. Okay, Dr. Kraft.
All right, thank you, President Wilson. So as you can see in the past month, we've had many, many committees. So thank you for your time and serving on the committees, and then also all the activities that happen this time of school year. Just to give you a current update on our enrollment, we are sitting at 11,091, and wanted to just highlight our Boerne Academy, and that is a critical component to our high school program. And to date, so far this year, we actually have had 28 students already graduate. And the Boerne Academy, housed at the new beautiful Mitchell Learning Center, is just a really special place that helps kids accelerate so that they can move on and reach their post-high school goals. Tonight, you're going to hear an update on our bond program, and so I'll let Mark share from there, but you've heard a number of folks mention the new P-TECH edition and also the Aquatic Learning Center, so you'll get an update there. And this is just such a busy time of year with winter concerts, plays, musicals, all the things that happen between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I know you have been at many, many events, and I appreciate you setting aside time to be present and recognize our kids and their hard work. And just a special congratulations to our Boerne High School football team. This is their first year in 5A, and they made it one game, you know, before they ended right before the state finals. And so I know many of you were there at the game over at Baylor University. And, you know, when you think about a high school or a football program, it involves so many student groups. Band, cheer, drill, student councils, athletic trainers, the safety team, the staff taking tickets, the staff selling concessions, the band boosters. I learned all about the burger stand this year. And so there's so many amazing things that happen, not only on the field, but the whole community event. And so that's a very special thing. And just want to say thank you to all those parents and students. And then again, our One Boerne was further showcased this Saturday because now we're in basketball season. And we had the boys and the girls playing all weekend long. And so if you happen to be over at one of the gyms, it was phenomenal. The girls' game was packed, the boys' game was packed, and it was a great competition between our two high schools. And I'll just end by saying a special thank you to the Cibolo Nature Center for Conservation that has been a great partner with us, and they helped to kick off our toy drive this year, and we just appreciate the team at Cibolo for their support of Boerne ISD. So thank you.
Awesome.
You know, Dr. Kraft, if I could add, it was a fun game on Saturday, the basketball. And it was really neat reading that email from the head ref who sent it to Stan Leach regarding how impressed he was with the coaches, the players, and what a privilege. He used the word privilege to be a ref at a Boerne ISD game. Because I think they understood the historical significance of those games. So that was really nice for him to take the time, and it was a lengthy email. For him to take the time made me feel good about our coaches and our players and how they represent our community.
Great. Okay, that's all the reports. So at this time, Mr. Goodrich, if you would like to do the reunification update.
It's a much longer walk than it looks. To the trustees, Superintendent Dr. Kraft, we're going to talk today about our reunification plans and just kind of work through what that looks like and kind of how we've landed with what we do now, how that looks. So there are 3 pillars, right, that we look at, and it's prevention, preparedness, which are that one, and then response, and then reunification. Since my assuming this position, we've spent a lot of time on those first 2 pillars, right? We exercise, we train, we do these things to get our local law enforcement partners, our first responders, as well as our community and staff engaged and involved. And so on this part, reunification is predicated, right, by something's occurred, an event has occurred where we have to return our students and staff to their loved ones in a way that's not the normal course, right? Either they can't just come and pick them up like they regularly would at their campus, or we're not going to be riding the bus home. And so we have to have a plan and how that looks. And so when we've looked at it and how our plans evolved, what we wanted to do is identify a leader, a backup, and kind of a redundancy, right? And then what we've learned is it couldn't come from the safety and security section. We're already engaged in that response phase of it and not necessarily available to handle the reunification. So we went back to our team and we identified the folks from PEAMS, right? Our registrars, our people that deal with these systems daily. Who better, right, to be engaged and involved in how we put this process? And they're also not encumbered by being at an individual campus, right? Otherwise involved. And so it was brilliant. I would love to take credit for it, but that was really our executive leadership team that came in and said, hey, let's take a look and see how we can do that differently. So once those personnel were identified, right, we looked and said, all right, what type of training do we need to do? What equipment, what characteristics really would comprise a person that's prepared to do this role? And one of the biggest pieces was Raptor. It's not just for visitor management, right? It's an excellent tool that we utilize that allows us to pair that student with the guardian that's authorized to pick them up. They offer a mobile app as a redundancy that our staff members that have these designations can utilize on their phone in case computers fail or the internet or the Wi-Fi is having issues. We have that redundancy, right? It's a brilliant system that goes from a greeter to that parent that comes in to a runner that moves from that position to retrieve that child, and then that individual that reunites and confirms the identity on both sides to put them with that trusted loved one. So those are the parts that we exercise most often. We also wanted to look at how we respond directly, what our incident protocols are going to be, right? A evacuation for weather is going to look different for evacuations for other reasons. Do we actually have to remove the students from the affected area, or can we do that because the facility is large enough from another side of the building that's not necessarily affected and eliminate one of those processes, that being evacuation, right? So we exercised this current process that we're utilizing now last June at Voss right before we came back to school. And then now July, not June. And then now what we're going to do, we're going to take those lessons learned and we're going to exercise it again in January 6th and 7th. So a lot of times while the schools are empty and the students aren't there, it doesn't mean we're not doing work, right? It's actually quite the opposite of that. My team and our local first responders take advantage whenever the students aren't there. There's a lot of reasons why we don't do these things while students are on campus. Some are incredibly obvious, right? You know, we don't want to expose them to unnecessary trauma, right? Or, you know, the other word that we use is not expose them to the drama and trauma, right? All those things that we're doing, it's just not necessary, right? So, you know, once those administrative teams were built up and the campus staff was built up, now we had to get out to the district and explain our processes, but most importantly, educate the folks in the front office. They're the ones that are most impacted and a lot of times receive the lowest amount of training in these incidents. But when that parent calls that school, who's answering that phone? Is it the principal? Or is it the men and women that are working and establishing that front office up there? So we spent a lot of our time this summer focusing on them. So as we look at this, right, and we've hit some of these before, but that rapid response. Now, what does that entail? We've got an immediate need to respond to do those things to save lives. And then the follow-on process of that is where a lot of times the missing piece that's not exercised enough, it's the safe return of those students, right? And let's not forget about our staff that are also affected sometimes by these traumatic events. Clear communication. I don't think we can stress that enough. If we can't clearly communicate and articulate effectively to our customers how that process looks, other people are going to fill that void. When we talk about designated reunification sites, I'm not going to share our process publicly about how we pick those locations, but we try not to rely on outside resources, right? We want to control what we can control in a potentially chaotic environment. Trained personnel, this is the most critical piece. When we are training those folks that are most likely to have to assist us and participate in these emergency situations, this pillar of the safety of our students is the one that is most reliant on the school district itself to facilitate, right? So we have to make sure our folks are trained and have the answers to the test before the test is given. Continuous improvement. If you drive by here any given weekend on any month, you're going to see about 20 to 25 law enforcement vehicles parked out here. At least once a month, we are doing sustainment, approving, and we're certifying law enforcement officers and first responders throughout the region. January 6th and 7th, another prime example, where we will not only be conducting an exercise, we will also be certifying those EMS, fire, and law enforcement personnel on how to respond to a critical incident. And then intentional collaboration, what does that mean? The men and women in this room and the relationships that exist because of who you are in this community enable us to have what we have present. What makes us special is the willingness of the sheriff's office, our 2 police departments, our fire departments, and EMS, every time to participate and be a part in what we're doing. Without that level of cooperation, we would have issues that a lot of other districts are encountering right now where they can't find willing partners to come up with these plans. The more that I interact with other school districts and what they're encountering, the more I appreciate how special this is here. It really is. And it's because of the folks that are on this board and in this audience right now that have that expectation. Sustained acceleration, right? What are we saying here? When we talked about continuous improvement, when we talked about training those administrative staffs, lessons learned that we've identified key needs. Things fail, right? Electronic systems fail. Internet dies. Wi-Fi fails us. Sean, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm picking on you a little bit. So we have to have redundancies. So we went to pen and paper. We went to physical pieces where we can still reunite folks if the electronic piece fails. Another key issue that we've learned, we have some folks that have medical issues that require regular monitoring, sometimes hourly checks with those nurses. If we're in a lockdown situation, we need to know specifically where those folks are. And if our electronic systems fail for that, we need a redundancy. And it's literally just index cards identifying what classroom they're in, how their schedule looks, and how often they need to see a medical professional. So those are all things that you really don't think about until you've had real world experience with these things, right? The training we talked about, but more importantly, the monitored implementation. Our IT folks, Sean and his team, reunification essentially has fallen to them, and they have stepped up tremendously. We now carry our own hotspots with us as a redundancy in case the Wi-Fi is overwhelmed or we're in an area where there's no cellular connectivity. It's the little things, right, that make these pieces happen. And again, just to touch on, it's not just the reunification piece. The healing from that trauma starts right away. It starts there while we have a captive audience or while we're waiting to return those children there. And that's Krista and her team and a lot of our partnerships that we have in those engaged community partners. Some of those partnerships we talk about that you may not be aware of, right? Our police and community team, our PAC team, that's been under Krista's leadership. It's been a notional experiment until now, and she's formalized it, right? But that's people volunteering their time from every sector of our first responder and education community to be able to get resources to those young men and women that need them immediately. We don't wait until, hey, let's see how it shakes out and we'll go and check on them tomorrow. We send people to the house that night, right? Another example of how this community steps up. The Kendall County Behavioral Health Coalition, same resources, right? Tremendous people that are in this for the right reasons. Hill Country Family Services, what hasn't been said about Stacy Almagar and Bryce Bodie, right? Tremendous assets to this community, and every time looking to do the right thing. Mental health and development delays and disabilities, but more importantly, our Empowered Partner Program, which you were briefed on. Just 2 months ago, or our last session, Yvette Reyna took a concept and ran with it and created this program, which is unbelievable. We're engaging our community partners, local business owners, to be identified as a safe haven in case a child evacuates. But it's not just for a traumatic event. They could be lost at the Christmas parade and see our symbol and realize, hey, this means safety. I'm going to get back to my parents because these people are trusted because the school district trusts them. Tremendous. Thank you for the time. Open the floor to any questions for you in case I didn't cover anything or you feel like that there's something that needs answering. Now, I apologize for my voice. I have a cold. I'm not going to say who brought it into the office.
Come on, intel's important here. No, really, we really appreciate this. I got the opportunity to train a little bit with this, and the recovery portion is something that I have no experience in at all. And also, it puts us in a weird situation as a board member to get to yell at staff. That's not good. But it was good training. I mean, it's really, really important to train those stressors, I think, important in people. And I really appreciate you to be able to put that initiative together and your team to always be working on themselves. That idea of the police officer at the schoolhouse, and whenever I was growing up, it had a certain image, and that image is absolutely the farthest from the truth here in Boerne ISD. And I really appreciate you for basically getting people that want to make themselves better every single day and improve this process. And hopefully we never have to learn what that process looks like in real action. I really hope that, but I feel confident that we have the people in the right places, and we're going to do the right thing. So because of you, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Chief Goodrich, great information. I love your heart for the kids, families. Very well thought out. I did have a question about informing families kind of your plan. What's kind of the protocol for kind of rolling this out publicly, just communicating?
I defer to the board and Dr. Kraft on that. As far as crisis communication in a critical incident, it's working with all of our partners. Dr. Kraft's a part of a team that meets on a regular basis with our county and city officials to discuss one message, getting accurate information out timely. You know, we compete with, you know, information that goes out that's not necessarily well informed, and we're never going to be able to compete with that. But once we can establish trust and get information out timely, hopefully we would be the only source, right, or from those official news sources.
Yeah, I think parents just, if they know that there is a plan in place for this, it just talk about establishing trust. I don't think you'll have, you know, big crowds of just people just trying to figure things out. I think that the trust would be built. I mean, this is a great plan. I think it just builds trust for people to know it. So it'll be good to communicate when the time is appropriate.
And I think that's the feedback that the CLA gave us last year, Citizens Leadership Academy. So we're trying to find what we can and cannot share, both statutorily
Sure.
and just best practices.
Right, that makes sense. No, thank you so much for your work.
Yes, ma'am.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
And Courtney, can I jump in right there? So just to follow up, Mr. Goodrich and his team did an overhaul of their website in the spring and refined all the pieces and to make sure that our standard response protocol was listed. So you'll see updates to their webpage.
Do we have it on Skyward when you register your kids? I feel like I saw something similar to this. When you go on Skyward to register your kids, I feel like this would be a good place for that, just because every parent has to look at each one of those steps before they register their children. And I feel like I saw something similar, maybe not this latest and greatest, but I feel like that was a place where I saw what the different types of evacuations were.
Yes, ma'am. We produced a video covering the standard response protocol. You know, what a secure and hold would be versus a lockdown, and what the expectations are of both students and parents in the event of an emergency, and where those official news sources would be. We produced a little video. Yvette, Eric, and Melanie, tremendous job. I even had hair in the videos.
You know, thinking out loud a little bit more, Courtney, actually, with the new distribution of the board report that'll come out after this meeting, it's going to talk about this reunification process. So that goes out not only to just staff now, it goes out to all the parents. So that'll get in their hands. Rick, I just want to say thank you. We are light years ahead of where we were years ago before your arrival with preparedness response especially. And what I like about this is we identified a weakness, or you did, and you're coming forth with a solution for it. And I think that's key. You know, the preparedness and the responses that we're doing, it's continual improvement. And the teaching that goes on as a model district basically is credited to you and the people that you surround yourself with. You know, several of us, you know, Christy, Dr. Kraft, Maritza, Dallas, and myself had the privilege of being there on Veterans Day that you received the award from today from the Wounded Warriors Foundation. And what was assembled there to me was probably the most impressive thing, because it wasn't just the Wounded Warriors, which are amazing in themselves, but it was DEA, it was FBI, it was Boerne PD, it was Fair Oaks PD, it was the Sheriff's Department, everybody in collaboration surrounding that group of individuals. And that doesn't happen by accident. That is intentional connections. And your leadership there is important because we do have to battle that misinformed citizen, the information that tries to jump out ahead, not being factual. And so we have to give timely and accurate information, and I think that's what we're committed to doing. So thanks for your leadership.
Yes, sir. And unfortunately, we had a reminder today, right, of how bad information early can shape things.
Chief, I'd just like to say thank you for, you know, you always I think you use everything as a learning opportunity. And of course, this kind of goes back to our January incident. And even now, just to see that you're still continually trying to improve on the things we always learn, take every opportunity to continue to learn and improve. So I love that you continue to do that. So thank you so much. And I like how you're, you know, and with the EL team, just broadening who can help your team to do the best job by getting the people up front at the office. So you're not only using your team, but you're utilizing everyone else who's there and who wants to help and wants to do something. So by giving them direction, everyone feels like they're having a part and can do something to help the district with whatever the situation is. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate all your hard work. I know you've put a lot of hours and effort into this, so thank you. Great job.
Yes, ma'am. It's an excellent point, and leadership matters, right? It starts from the board and the direction of the superintendent down, and I can tell you, our team and our community, we feel completely supported, right? And we're able to experiment and do some things and see if that works for us. A lot of opportunities in the very near future because of what you've allowed us to do, and it's impressive. Talking to my counterparts, what we have here in a board does not exist in many places. Very special. Thank you for what you do.
You know, Rick, just when we go to conferences with other districts or speak to trustees in other communities, the collaboration that we have with the sheriffs and both police departments, Boerne and Fair Oaks Ranch, seems to be somewhat unique. It shouldn't be, but you know, I hear more exceptions to the rule by talking to trustees in other places, and I also appreciate the focus on mental health because, you know, it's a reality, and I'm just so proud of the organizations in our community that are really leading and including us, and we're partners with them. So I think it's all good. It's the only way you can win the battle.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you. We're blessed to have you here in BISD. And I know in those reunification boxes, I just thank you for your day in and day out business. Like, I know you have to go in there and reprint those rosters every so often to make sure that they're up to date and accurate. How many times did you say you have to change those out?
So those are updated monthly.
Okay.
Right, and then more frequently at the start of the year as schedules change and all of that. And I'd love to take credit for that, but that's Jamie who really runs our section back there.
Yeah, Jamie's doing a great job as well.
What a tremendous asset she's been, and she'll be angry that I mentioned her name.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Goodrich. Okay, next report we have is Mr. Stahl.
Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Kraft, good to see you again. So I'm here tonight to give you an update on the current 22 bond projects. Before I get started, I always like to, we don't accomplish anything together as far as bond or anything in my department. As one person, we do it as a team. I'd be remiss not to recognize Mr. Ramiro Guerrero in the back, our Director of Construction and Planning. His oversight and leadership is invaluable. Excuse me. So our core values, every child, every day, respectful relationships, excellence through integrity, and commitment to service. That's exemplified in everything we do, especially with capital projects. It's an expectation that we hold ourselves to, and we also hold our consultants and our contractors to the same. Bond projects, capital improvement projects are reflected in our scorecard, specifically under student success and fiscal responsibility. So our first project is the Boerne High School courtyard. As many of you know, compared to the old design, this is drastically different. It includes improved drainage, accessible pathways, additional outside seating areas. It has an amphitheater area for learning and events. Has updated lighting. We have 2 areas that have artificial turf. And then we had to repair and reroute a lot of the aging infrastructure that probably needed to be done for some time. This project instigated that to be done. We were able to achieve that. The budget for this project is $3,013,000 and $154, and I'm happy to report that we are trending under budget. Our next project is the Champion High School addition. As was referenced earlier, we'll be receiving furniture for this building over the holiday break with anticipation of opening it when students return in January. We're excited about that. This is a 38,000 square foot facility. It's comprised of 2 floors, that include classrooms, computer labs, and collaborative flex spaces. Also has administrative office spaces, has a staff workroom, secure vestibule, and then has a connection to the main campus via the first floor. And then you'll see in the picture on the bottom left, there's a bridge to the second floor, which provides a covered walkway to those accessing the building on the first floor. And then we have a parking lot. Again, it's going to include about 60 spaces. Budget on this project was $18,229,000, $229,644. And again, we are trending under budget on this. We have our 4 legacy library renovations. This is Kendall Elementary, Cibolo Creek Elementary, Carrington Elementary, and Fair Oaks Ranch Elementary. These are open and collaborative concepts. They include adjacent improvements. They have learning walls. They have maker space. They have little learning steps or little curved amphitheater-style seating areas for specialized learning. They will get all new furniture. They will get a new circulation desk, and in addition to that, we'll get a new office for the librarian and a work. The budget for these projects was $7,780,800. This is the Aquatics Learning Center. This will provide programming for swimming, water polo, diving, and we also included a learning environment for our younger students. We'll have a standalone parking lot that will include 50 slots for car parking, and then we have 4 slots for buses, which are shown on the rendering on the left. It'll include a pool equipment room, has a standalone modular building that will house public restrooms, 2 locker rooms, and a coach's office. The design includes portable bleachers that can be moved for programming, applicable use. And it also has a time clock and scoring system with digital display and PA announcing. And then we did include shade structures, not only for participants, but for athletes and coaches as well. The budget on this project is $9,921,103. Currently, we are trending under budget. You are all aware we faced some challenges on this project. So we've been delayed. The project was supposed to be completed end of July, early August, and now we're sitting here and I'm reporting to you that our substantial completion is February of 2025, but we are continually monitoring that project daily, if not twice daily, or collaboratively, and we're optimistic that we'll reach that. Finally, this project has an asterisk next to it on the budget bullet. You'll see that this project was not originally included in the bond, original called bond. Now the drainage for the tennis courts was, but the resurfacing of the tennis courts and the band practice pad was not. So we we've already provided a brand new surface for the tennis courts. They were delaminating as a result of the water infiltration through the slab. We finished that at the beginning of November, right before, at the beginning of the Thanksgiving break before we left holiday. We're also going to add outdoor lighting at the band marching pad. And in the band marching pad area, we're going to completely mill or remove that surface, add new base, ensure we have a flat level surface. We'll come back and we'll asphalt it, and then we'll repaint it with the band markings that they need to replicate a football field or their positions, and then paint them parking lot. Excuse me. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So again, this was funded through bond savings or cost avoidance, and our budget was $592,860. And we've just finished the tennis courts right now, so it's kind of hard to project savings or being under budget, but we're looking. So this next steps, we have the Boerne Middle School North Focus Group that's comprised of leaders throughout the district, leaders at different departments, different levels, looking at Boerne Middle School North and possibilities for that campus in the future. Those meetings have gone well. We're anticipating site visits beginning in January, reconvening sometime mid to late February, with hopes of coming back to the board and providing a report in the early spring. And then educational specifications. Those have rapidly started to accelerate. We'll be working on educational specifications, which are expectations for a school district on the way their facilities are supposed to be designed and built. That's established by the school district. So we're excited about that. We have a planning meeting tomorrow, and we'll have accelerated meetings beginning in June. And then that's a lot of projects. I know we only covered the current ones tonight, but we'll continue to monitor our projects and begin closing them out to get a more concrete grasp of where we sit on bond savings. That's all.
Thanks. Great information. Any comments or questions for?
Yeah, just a comment. You know, I don't know I think there was something like 30 or 35 projects in the bond and in the 2022 bond. And just going through your update on all these, it's over half the amount that was approved by the voters that are going to be at or under budget, which is a good thing because there are many districts in the state. I think there must have been a good job done on analyzing what the costs would be and factoring in inflation, because I know one district in San Antonio had to shelve a quarter of their projects because of cost overruns, or their bids came in higher than what they forecast. So I respect what you do in your profession. You have to know what you're doing to be able to accurately forecast the true cost and then follow through to the promises that were made to the community. And so that's well done. Thank you.
Well, a lot of that comes from our relationships with our consultants and our other partners, just being transparent and upfront, having good front-end documents that establish the budget and also establish the guidelines on how to reach that. But yeah, it's hasn't been easy, but we've been very fortunate to have those relationships.
Anybody else? Good. All right. Thank you, Mr. Stahl.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Okay, next up, we have Dr. O'Hare for the
You can sit down, Wes. It'll give you a few more minutes to come up with a joke.
All right. Good evening, President Wilson, members of the board, Dr. Kraft. Thank you for having me. It's time to talk about 25-26. Just let that sink in for a moment. I'm here tonight to talk to you about the recommendation for the 25-26 calendar. So our district calendar helps identify the instructional schedule for the year. So it's connected to our scorecard under student success and student achievement. It's also a representation of our community values and our community priorities. And so it also connects to our scorecard in the family and community engagement area of our scorecard. And we'll talk a little bit later in the slides about how we engaged our family and community for some feedback. A little bit about our calendar development process. So in September, we engaged the District Education and Improvement Committee. That's a committee of 60 representative staff members. We've got staff, parents, community members on that. The committee is predominantly teachers and parents on that community, on that particular committee. We talked to that committee. We gave them an overview of kind of the legal rules for calendar development, some of those which I'll show you here in a minute. We got their feedback on the previous year's calendar, and then we solicited names of calendar subcommittee members, people who wanted to work with us in additional meetings to engage in the work. And so we got 25 takers for our calendar subcommittee, which is twice the number we got last year. I was super excited. The calendar subcommittee met 4 times over October and November. They drafted 6 different viable calendar drafts that met our parameters and were in line with our legal requirements and in line with our District of Innovation, which had us not starting school before the first week of August. And then the calendar subcommittee moved those forward for feedback from the full DEIC committee meeting and their committee meeting in November, and from the cabinet. And after that feedback, we moved 2 final options forward to the community for feedback. That feedback opened up on November 19th and closed on December 2nd. We'll show you the results of that here in a minute. A little bit of legal guidance, if you remember, for the calendar. So remember, we're no longer based on calendar days for our students. Our students are legally required to be in school for 75,600 operational minutes. Operational minutes are defined as the time between when the first bell of the day rings and when the last bell of the day rings. In accordance with our District of Innovation, we cannot start. We are allowed to start before the 3rd week of August because of our DOI, but we cannot start before the first Monday in August is what our DOI specifies. And while our students come to school based on minutes and operational minutes, our teachers are still on 10-month contracts. They are here for 187 days. So that'll see the difference between the number of days staff here and the number of days our students are here, which is why we have work days and staff development days in our calendar. And then another wrinkle, there's a staff development waiver that TEA provides that allows us to depress that 75,600 minutes a little bit for professional development that happens after the first day of school, but before the last day of school for students. So the 2 options that were put forward by the committee for final community feedback. There's a little graphic of them here. You have in your packets, your board packets, you have the full calendars of both and a side-by-side comparison. Highlight a few differences between them. Calendar 1 has staff starting a day earlier on the 1st of August, whereas calendar 2 has staff starting on that Monday. The fall break is treated a little bit differently. Option 2 has 1 more day for students in the fall break. The Christmas break is treated a little differently. The option 2 has 1 less day for staff on the Christmas break with how we play with the exchange days. The overage minutes you can see here on the graphic is different for the calendars. Where the exchange days fall is different on the calendars. And what you have in this chart is a comparison of the 2 options we put forward for community feedback to this year's current calendar. And so you can see that option 2 has a few less, 15 less instructional or operational minutes than our current calendar. All the staff days are 187 days because they have to be. They all still have 3 exchange days in them. There is a variance in the number of professional development waiver minutes. Option 2 has a little bit more, and that's because they've moved one of the professional development days that happened prior to the start of the school year in August into the school year is what caused that adjustment. And then you can see a slight variance on the number of bad weather days or minutes. These are the extra days that we kind of bank in our calendar so that if we have a bad weather day or if we have a team make the state football final, we can not have school that day without having to bring students back for an additional day of school because we have the minutes banked. This is actually the lower estimate because our operational minutes for our elementary campuses and our secondary campuses are slightly different. We have 445 operational minutes daily for our elementaries and 450 for our secondaries. So like on option 2, that 3.96 days, that's for our elementary campuses. Our secondary campuses actually have an additional about 1.5 days on top of that. All right, results of our community survey. We received 1,168 responses to our community survey, which is pretty comparable to what we received last year. Overwhelmingly, they elected for calendar 2 as their preferred choice over calendar 1. Anecdotally, I think the length of some of the breaks and the start date for teachers factored into that a little bit. And so as a recommendation, after getting all the feedback from the community and working with the committee, we are bringing the board a recommendation to adopt option 2 for the 25-26 calendar. And I will take any questions or discussion.
I think I like option 2. I'm glad it was chosen. Just the things that you mentioned that are different. It's nice for everyone to not have to start school on a Monday, you know, and if we can't do a Wednesday, then at least starting on a Tuesday isn't a full week for everybody involved. That just takes a little bit of pressure off. Also for the fall break, having a full week, having a full consecutive week off during the fall break is, it sounds nice, but in the upper levels, it can be challenging, especially for its football playoffs. It's in the middle of 2 or 3 different playoffs, and you can argue that you're always going to have some type of sport playing. But like Dr. Kraft mentioned, football, takes up about 40% of the population at a high school. So I think having that fall break broken up a little bit it helps. So I like option 2. Thank you for working with that committee.
Yes, ma'am. They're a fun group.
I just want to say I appreciate all the work that goes into this, because I know we're looking at it and it's pretty easy to see a finished product right in front of us, but I know what goes into building a calendar and what this takes, so I really, really deeply appreciate all the work and all the manpower that went into making this for us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I had some parent champions that rallied some more people to my subcommittee because they really enjoyed all they learned about our calendar development process. So we're going to get a bigger group every year.
On 3, so like on option 2, there's bad weather days / minutes, and we've got 3.96 days or 1,760 minutes there. Is that when we take off? So say like the example you use where we make the state championship for football. So if we say, okay, everybody gets out at 1 o'clock today, district wide. It's a district wide thing, right? That only counts when it's the district gets out, or is it just individual schools, or how?
We can count it campus by campus. So right now, Boerne High School, for example, has 90 less minutes banked than Champion High School because we let them out 90 minutes early. So we're allowed to count that by campus.
Okay, and it's not, you don't have to either take the whole day off, or I mean, we couldn't take 4 full days off because we're 0.04 shy of having 4 full days. So we count it by the minutes, and so it doesn't matter, I guess is my question.
Right. When you get that close, if you really needed to, if you had 4 days and you were at 3.96, all of our secondaries would be good. And something we could do is add 5 minutes to the end of the elementary day for a week or 2 in order to make up that 0.04, and we would be good.
Okay. Oh, so you can add some time too. And
Yes, sir.
Okay. Awesome. Good. Any other questions, comments? Okay. I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I move that the Boerne ISD Board of Trustees approve the administration's recommendation of option 2 for the 25-26 BISD school calendar.
I second.
Motion is second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Option 2 is passed.
All right, Mr. Scott, now you can come up here.
High expectations.
Good evening, everybody. You have been provided the results of operations through the month ending November 30th for the 24-25 year. I don't have anything to put up on screen today, so if I could, I would like to get that picture of Rick Goodrich put back up on the screen. That way, no matter what I say, we'll all.
Where is he?
He's not here. Right. Well, we've got to record it. Okay. So I don't have any comments on the results of operations themselves with the funds. That they were within budgeted and operational expectations. I'm certainly willing to entertain questions about those. The meat of the discussion today will be on the budget amendment. There's been a budget amendment proposed for the child nutrition and the debt service fund. Last month, forward with a budget amendment for the child nutrition and the general fund related to compensation. There were changes made in that board meeting to that compensation proposal. Our recommendation was to go ahead and adopt the budget amendment as presented, and we would make adjustments. And so you can see on the budget amendment sheet those adjustments. We thought they would be fairly small, and they are less than $9,000 for the general fund and $14,000 for the child nutrition fund. And what you see there is since we shifted towards the auxiliary, changing that from $1 to $1.05 an hour increase, that you see most of the money's coming out of Function 11 and instruction and going into one where most of our auxiliary reside. And that's why you have a larger effect in the child nutrition. Well, those are primarily composed of auxiliary employees. The larger dollars in the budget amendment comes from the debt service fund. We have an increase to revenues of just under $2 million, and an increase in expenditures of $3.4 million. So in the 23-24 year, the prior year, we had a $1.1 million surplus in the debt service fund. That was a result of legislation that had been acted that provided more in state funding to make up for the loss in service levy that we saw as a result of the increase in the homestead exemption. We saw that adopted $1.5 million estimate of state revenues related to that exemption. That was a very conservative estimate that the TA released in the last month. What they're going to pay us for our current principal and interest scheduled. That's what they base that additional state aid related to that increase in the homestead exemption to its $3.8 million instead of the 1.5. So we're going to increase the revenues. We're going to also increase the expenditures that will be to the proposed defeasance that the board adopted in August. They adopted a minimum $2.2 million defeasance. We were going to take $1 million at it after scheduled principal and interest in our adopted budget and apply that to a planned defeasance. We were also going to another $1 million, the surplus that we had the prior year, another $2.2 million to add on top of that. So what we do is make a $4.5 million advance defeasement actually of 2016 bonds. The 2047 maturity will pay off $4.5 million of that principal. That will provide about $1 savings to the district, and we'll add gain. So that the budget amendments as presented. Does anybody have any questions related to the results of operations or the budget?
You know, I think we're in a good position by being able to double our defeasance from what we thought back in August. 2.2 million. It's going to be closer to 4.5 million with almost $4 million savings in future interest payments. Now, I see that we'll still have 9.8 million in our fund balance for our debt service, and that's used to cover any interest payments we make in August, correct?
Yes.
What is our estimated August interest payments?
Right now, it's about between $5 and $6 million.
So we have more than enough to cover that before the property tax collections start coming in October.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good position to be in. The other thing I noticed, I don't have any questions on the general fund, just on the child nutrition, we're through November, which is maybe 35% of the school year, we're already halfway to our forecast of revenue for local. Is that because we're selling more meals, or, I mean?
Well, we're, the board adopted an increase in the lunch price this summer. That was if you'll remember, that's a result of there is I'm forgetting the terminology, you'll have to forgive me, but the TDA releases a worksheet that we have to work through lunch price. A 10-cent price increase was marked. Yeah, that's by federal standards that the TDA implements on our behalf, and so there's some additional revenue from there and we are selling slightly more meals. I can't remember off the top of my head. Do you remember? It's single digit. It's not double. It's an increase last number of meals sold.
Well, I was at Faber Elementary today having lunch with a student, and it seemed like every kid in the row bought their lunch, and they were raving about the Frito pie. No, but it looked pretty good. I got to tell you, it looked pretty good. You know,
Frito pie is a good thing.
Well, our Chick-fil-A sales are way down, so this explains it all right here.
Wes, any communication from the appraisal district on tax collections? I saw we're dropped pretty far under from what the tax collection was last year, 0.81% behind.
Yes, the tax collections are a little bit down from last year's November to date. We haven't received any communications from the assessor collector's office related to that at this point in time. I was going to give it one more month, see how we looked in December. I do remember we did give all credit for the increase that we saw in October to Rich Senna. So I think we should give all the blame as well. In the polls that I've been taking, his influence really fallen.
I think we've learned that we have to prod for information.
Yes, so. And the last item that I haven't touched on so far was that related to donations. We did get $240,000 in donations from individuals, boosters, and PTOs, and education foundations. $197,000 of that was the Boerne Education Foundation's teacher incentive grants recognized in this month, and we certainly appreciate the BF. Every donor that donates $1, a good or an hour service to the district.
You know, I don't think this is part of your report, but in our packet we got a one-page summary of attendance this year compared to prior years, and it looks like we continue to exceed last year.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how much, but that's encouraging that our attendance. Every school I go to, I see the number in the lobby. You know, like what the attendance was for the day. I think that's good.
Yeah, we remember we adopted the budget based on 93.75% of enrollment, and right now we're trending to finish at about 94.5. So we're really doing well in that regard.
That's good.
Any other comments, questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the budget
Mr.
amendment.
President, I move to approve the budget amendments, donation report, and tax collection report as presented.
Got a motion? A second from Ms. Gonzalez Cooper. All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Last up, we've got future business items. And so potentially school, well, no, it is School Board Appreciation Month next month, so it's not potentially. And then quarterly investment report, and then we'll call the 2025 School Board Trustee elections. So those are possible topics. At this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. First and a second, all in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign.